Welcome to the Go Legal Yourself podcast, episode 56, title, Investing in Real Estate. Welcome to the Go Legal Yourself podcast. This show is about knowing the legal life cycle of your business. I'm your host, Attorney Kelly Bagler, the Queen of Business Law. You can interact with us on social media and definitely do find us on the web at golegalyourself.com. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing David DaCosta. He is the founder of DaCosta Properties. Welcome to the show, David.
Good morning, Kelly. So nice to hear your voice and to see you as well.
Well, thank you very much. We ask all of our guests to share their favorite attorney joke. I'm sure you have one or two up your sleeve.
Well, I'm really not a jokester, but I
beg to differ.
I did do some investigating, and this one came to mind. So here's a question for you, Kelly. Why won't sharks attack attorneys?
Oh, I know the answer to that, but I'm going to let you share it with the audience.
Well, Kelly, of course, professional courtesy.
Professional. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Okay.
So, David, clearly you have a funny accent, just like I do.
Well, yes. I thought you had an accent. I speak normal, don't I?
It depends. Exactly. It depends who's asking and where you are.
Yes.
You weren't born and raised in America.
No, I was not. I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but I have a storied past.
Yes.
But, so originally raised in Kingston, Jamaica, grew up there and then went to college in Canada, in Montreal. And then I came to San Diego, where I've been for the last 40 plus years. So, the accent that really stuck was, believe it or not, more Canadian than anything else. So I'll say things like out and about. But we can also talk Jamaican too, you know.
There you go. There you go. And you know a thing or two about Jamaican food.
Yes, I enjoy it. That's my main food stuff growing up. So Iryman. And then my wife and I, for about 10 years, we actually owned a local Jamaican restaurant on the 101 in Encinitas. So
yes, you
Shamrock
did.
101.
Yes, you did. And I frequented that place many a times, and I can attest to the food. Pretty incredible. David, tell us a little about your background.
Well, like I said, born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, originally way back, Portuguese Jewish descent. And my family has been in the island of Jamaica for 300 years plus. So quite a history there. Maybe there's even some pirates in my background. Who knows? So I worked there, grew up in a very business environment, business and embassy environment. My mom was with the American Embassy there, and my dad ran businesses. And so I guess I'm a product of that. I love playing ambassador, and I love business, and got into the real estate world. Actually became licensed 2001, did some mortgage banking on the side, put my kids through college that way, and eventually got into real estate full time, which is my true passion right now. I'm glad I've discovered it.
Fantastic. The reason I'm asking you is because this show is about helping entrepreneurs, right, avoid certain pitfalls. So when you were growing up, David, did your mom or dad give you a guide as to, little David, stay away from this because it will hurt you? Or, David, as you're growing up, here's a book for you to follow so you can avoid all the mistakes that you are going to make and just live one of those perfect lives? And that's exactly what happens in business, right?
No, that far from it, Kelly. As you know, you're an author yourself, so we need more quote unquote books out there that we can read. So,
right.
No, nothing like that at all. It was kind of do it yourself, paint by numbers almost. what's it say? I graduated from the University of Hard Knocks several times.
Yes, and that's why we're really excited to have you on the show today, because I want you to share your story. I want you to share your entrepreneurial spirit with our audience, right? So it really takes a certain mindset to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone.
Well, I go back to one of my mentors in life. He's my godfather, and he was a true entrepreneur. He tried everything, and in Jamaica, he ran an ice cream factory, a cone factory, a straw factory. He brought the first dry cleaning establishment to the island. So entrepreneur through and through. I grew up around that, and he was like a second father to me. My dad, bless his soul, was, he put his nose to the grindstone, hard worker. I never went without, and that was good too. So I wanted a blend of that. And I knew in order to do that at an early stage that I had to take some risks, because if you're going to go into entrepreneurship, rule number one, you got to take some risks.
As far as the risks go, were those calculated risks, or were those risks that you happened to stumble upon?
Well, you can only calculate so much. So yeah, you do your homework, you do your due diligence, but there comes a time where you got to jump in. And when you jump in, it's everything. In my book, there's no turning back.
Right.
I'm gonna make this work.
Exactly.
That's opening up a restaurant with no experience before. But I prided myself in a good business acumen.
There you go. You do the research, right? You talk to people, and at some point you have to jump in. You either you're going to swim or you're going to drown.
Yes.
Okay? And if you drown, if you truly have that entrepreneurial spirit, you're going to do it again, and you're going to do it again, and you're going to do it again, right? So
correct.
Here on this show, David, we are providing advice. We are providing information to our audience. And again, it's all about helping an entrepreneur avoid some of the mistakes that senior business owners might have made in their lifetime, right? So as an attorney, I never had a mentor, right? I never had anyone to say to me, okay, Kelly, if you're going to open your own firm, this is how you do it. And if you're going to go out and expand your business, this is how you're going to do it. I had to do it all by myself. I figured it out, right? Again, I think the bottom line for every entrepreneur, David, is you have to have passion for what you do. Okay. That brings me to real estate. I love real estate. Absolutely love it. It's been around for centuries. Right now.
You mean it's as old as dirt, right?
Isn't it? There you go. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're conducting this interview during a global pandemic time, right? So the times right now are very unpredictable. But I want to pick your brain as the expert in why did you decide to go into real estate, and how can real estate become an asset for people, for the future?
Well, when I first came to San Diego, like I said, a long time ago, I actually had the opportunity straight out of college of going into real estate. But guess what? I was scared. I had $800 to my name, and I had friends of my family that lived here and were very successful in real estate. They said, David, we will help you. So at that point, it was fear. I didn't do any research, so I didn't take that kind of risk. So I went for the tried and proven and got into business. I was a sales rep. So real estate has always had that allure. When I had my first kids growing up, my wife would be sleeping in, Tina, bless her soul. She likes her beauty sleep, and she is beautiful.
Talking about sleeping, David, talking about sleeping, if you hear snoring in the background, that's just my 4-footed associates.
Oh, okay. Living in the COVID world.
Aren't they?
What I'm saying is I used to go to open houses on a Sunday morning with my 1 or 2 year old, again, just going into houses. And I had this knack. It's the intuition. I did my research. At one point, and I know San Diego County like the back of my hand, from the San Ysidro border all the way past Oceanside. So I would be able to tell you just about any street in the county what values were. And I did that because I traveled throughout the county in my various sales professional jobs in my career. So I felt very comfortable, very well suited, and I'm a people person first and foremost.
Yes, you are.
So it's not necessarily making a sale, in all honesty. Yes, the income is good and we all need to eat, correct? But really, I really wear my heart on my sleeve. I put myself in my client's shoes and I want to help. And sometimes if that house isn't for you, Kelly, I have to say, Kelly, we can do better than this. Or why are you doing this really? In other words, the motivation for you has got to be there to purchase or sell that home. And, so I always keep that as my mindset. And if I'm taking care of the customer and doing business according to their desires and needs, well, then I think I'll always be right.
So how can owning real estate be an asset for business owners?
Well, for business owners, you need shelter first and foremost. So that's the first. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Food and shelter. And as we move up the food chain, we want to expand and grow and become more of an entrepreneur. So yes, you can rent real estate. So there's investment real estate, which, to be honest with you, I do. That's a small part of my practice. My main practice is in the area of helping either retired people or semi-retired people maybe downsize into a smaller, more convenient lifestyle and home, or move up buyers as also first-time buyers. But again, it's an asset. There are numbers out there that prove that if you own real estate, whether it be a one-bedroom condo or a 10-bedroom mansion, you will have more wealth in your life.
That's interesting.
Plain and simple.
Expand upon that.
When you own real estate, and let's take it in its simplest concept, a single family dwelling, you are making a monthly mortgage payment unless you happen to be able to be wealthy enough to pay cash. But 90% of the people out there have a mortgage, correct?
Right.
I have a mortgage. You probably have a mortgage. So you know what that means to me? Forced savings. Americans haven't been in the lifestyle. They're not in the habit of saving. They're probably the worst in the entire world when it comes to saving money for a rainy day. And obviously we know what that's like right now. But as you save, and whether that house payment is $1,500, $3,000, $6,000 a month, you are building equity. And if you live in Southern California, you know what that means. And you know what real estate means. Even more so valuable in Southern California because we are in a very different arena in the real estate world. We are truly special. Take San Diego County, for example. This is why prices have been so stable, even amidst this crisis, worldwide epidemic. Guess what? People think prices are going down. I have news for you. They're not. If anything, they've inched up quite a bit because it's all about two important economic factors, supply and demand.
I remember that from my economics class.
Yes. So right now, there is little or no supply. In fact, there is 42% less homes available on the market compared to this time last year in San Diego County. And these are very recent figures. I track figures. I don't love numbers, but I have a relationship with numbers because it's part of my business. And I have to stay on top of the numbers. So I work with top economists in the area.
Right.
So 42% less supply. And guess what? The demand is still there. It was there before. The market was very strong. And we have this thing called interest rates. Remember, we decided that the majority of homeowners have a mortgage. So they want a low interest rate so that their payments are less each month.
And right now, David, the timing's perfect on refinancing, right?
Absolutely. There is a refinancing boom. And I myself just refinanced 6 weeks ago now. So I just closed and yes, there's so much of a refinancing boom that there's actually a logjam. And lenders have had to back off and tighten up and say, hey, we only want the creme de la creme because we're full. And rates actually went up for an interim there. Now they've settled down again. And my crystal ball tells me that rates will be relatively low for the next 6 months to a year and a half.
Right. So as far as a business owner owning real estate, okay, when a business owner, because money is everything. Without money, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to live the lifestyle that you want, run the type of business that you want. And with business owners, if they're thinking ahead, they are at some point going to want to take out some sort of business loan, especially in today's economy. The financial lenders, they look at what are the assets that you have. And if they see that you are a homeowner, one, that shows you're responsible, and two, you can literally put that down as collateral for a business loan. So that's how owning a home, owning real estate could help a business owner. The other thing that you had just mentioned too is the refinance, right? So for example, say you paid $3,000 a month for a mortgage, and then you refinance, and now you're literally saving maybe $200 to $300 a month because of the refinance and the interest rates being so low. Well, if you continue paying $3,000 a month, right, you can actually pay, and that would go towards principal. You could actually pay down the loan, your mortgage, much faster. Is that something you'd recommend?
Absolutely, yes, for those that want to take that route. I look back and remember I said I used to own a restaurant. So when I needed extra money, guess where I went? I went to the equity in my home loan. Because when I shopped around and I saw interest rates out there, well, it was going to cost me 10% over here or 8% over here. I even went to the Small Business Administration, which is an excellent resource, but it was going to cost me 8%. And I went into my own home loan and I asked my banker, I said, I need to pull some money out. How much is it going to cost me? 4%. So which number sounds better? So I was able to have money to expand my business and my interests. But not only that, not that I really needed the money, but I had it there for that rainy day. Absolutely. If I wanted a new piece of equipment, or if I needed to expand my business, or if I wanted to open up another location, that was the money that I could use. Riskier, but again, it was there. I needed to get an alcohol license. I had it. I bought it. That alcohol license in 4 years quadrupled the money. Actually, have you heard the expression 10x? It 10x'd it
yes.
that much, that alcohol license. And I was able to sell it when I wanted to use my exit strategy. So yes, a home is that pot of gold.
That's
fantastic.
You should
nourish it. You should enjoy it. And if you live in San Diego, you should do everything possible to buy a home.
You mentioning alcohol. No, it's not happy hour yet, but it reminds me of a country song where the singer is singing. People are saying to him that you have a drinking problem. And his response is, I don't have a drinking problem at all. I can drink fine. I just had to share that with you. I thought that was comical. But yes, you are a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. And being part of owning a business, David, you actually thought outside the box too, right? You could have just had the restaurant without a liquor license. But for you to think outside the box and think, okay, well, how can I make the business more profitable? Just like you said, 10x. How incredible is that? That's huge. So that could be something that our audience could start thinking about too, as to if they have a business, how can they make it more profitable, right? Where can they go to get more money at a lower rate that they can invest in their business? And again, this goes back to owning real estate.
Right. But again, using the restaurant as an example and expanding, find out what people want. I did my research. There was no live entertainment, no music being played in restaurants. I like music. I had something special. I had a Jamaican restaurant, a Caribbean restaurant, so I could bring reggae music, calypso music, all varieties of Caribbean music into the area. And I wanted to create a different vibe, if you will, in North County, because back then it wasn't as diversified. So I wanted to bring more culture. And who doesn't love reggae music? So I was one of the very first to start bringing music into establishments like restaurants. And I pride myself because now it's a growing trend and everybody does it. It could be a local guitarist or a musician. But again, giving them opportunity. I have one of my good friends from back in the day, and he says, David, I will always remember you because you gave me my first break in entertainment. Because I said, Johnny, come on in here. You can play for 2 or 3 hours. I'll buy you a beer, get you a sandwich or whatever. Just don't overcharge me. Because unless you bring so many clients and such a lot of your following into the restaurant, I can't afford to pay you a whole lot. So it becomes a win-win. He worked very diligently to bring his clients into my restaurant. They ate, were happy, and they listened to his music.
There you go again, thinking outside the box. Fill in
a need.
Yes, exactly. And giving the customer an experience, right, where they want to keep coming back again. So if I was looking for real estate and I had my pick as to whom I could choose as far as my agent goes, obviously I know you, David. I know you're an incredibly caring man. You are a people person. You're very well connected. But without me sharing with the audience, what's that special something that you bring to the table that clients are going to say, yes, I'm going to go with David?
Thank you for the kind words, Kelly. And yes, there are really 3 cornerstones of who I am, or my philosophy, if you will. And I'll tell a short story if I may. I hope I'm not running out of time here. When I was going into real estate and I wanted to brand myself, I put it out there to my connections. And I said, guys and gals, you know me, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the length of time. Give me 3 words that describe David DaCosta. The cornerstones of my philosophy were service, connections, and trust. So that in itself, I think, is a great way to venture into the real estate world, or how to choose an agent. So 3 years ago, I left my broker at the time and joined a new operation called Harcourts International. We're in 10 countries, originated in Australia and New Zealand. And I joined the particular broker here because he is just an exceptional entrepreneur. And I pride myself in that because I consider myself a business person first and a realtor second, because there are 30,000 realtors with licenses in San Diego County, but not as many business people that know real estate inside out.
Right.
And that's a big difference. So going back to the story of Harcourts, why did I join them? Well, because of this broker, Kevin Sanchez. He owns about 10 franchises up and down the California Gold Coast, Southern California Gold Coast. And we have this magic option, and it's called an auction. And you might say, well, Kelly, that was back in 2008 when there were foreclosures. No. Stop and think. You like your exquisite jewelry, don't you, Kelly?
Well, who doesn't?
So baubles and bangles and diamonds and pearls. So jewelry, grand estate homes, exotic cars, fine art. How is that sold?
Auction.
At an auction. So what we do is we rethink real estate, again, thinking outside the box. And in Australia and New Zealand, they sell 80% of their residential real estate in this fashion. So they reverse the entire process of what we know as traditional real estate here in the US of A, where rather than starting at a ceiling, a set price, $1 million, let's say, that's only telling people to negotiate you down.
Right.
So buyers will want to pay less than that because guess what? Nobody wants to overpay for real estate, right?
Right.
So we reverse this process in this non-distressed luxury auction platform that we use and start at a much lesser amount. We cast a broad net, so we attract a lot more buyers to the property through the internet, obviously, and a lot of marketing techniques that we use, really to compete and create this environment of competition, which drives the price up to the desired outcome that the seller wants.
See, that's brilliant thinking and strategy and marketing. It truly is. That in itself sets you apart, David. Now, we do have international listeners, right? So the podcast has gone international. And if someone is thinking about moving to the States, particularly here in beautiful San Diego, California, they can absolutely reach out to you, and we'll add your notes to our show notes. But what advice would you give someone who is looking, and I know this is completely on opposite ends, someone that's looking to buy and someone that's looking to sell? So 2 pieces of advice.
Well, again, to buy, you can do all your research up front, but you really need a strong agent working on your behalf to help with the negotiation process. Because remember I said supply and demand earlier on?
Yes.
There is not much supply. But unless you have in your bag of tricks an excellent realtor who knows the market before the home even comes onto the market, how does one know that? Through their connections, through their network in the industry, so on and so forth. So again, I happen to be well connected, so I keep my pulse on what's coming to market, so that you don't know it yet, but the home you want isn't yet on the market, and I've already found it for you.
Right. How about someone that's selling?
So if you're selling, you want your home in good condition, and I'm assuming you want to price it correctly so it moves quickly, and you don't want to keep it on the market for a long time, correct?
Right. Meaning good condition. So for example, even just like a simple paint job would maybe increase the value of the home.
The biggest return for the dollar when you're listing your property is curb appeal.
Yes.
So walking up to the house, is it clean looking? Is the front door fresh? Are there a couple of shrubs or flowers in the garden that I can see? That one item alone can be a game changer.
Right. And you'll come in and you'll advise the home seller, and you'll put a list together for them and say, we can work on these simple little things that can literally add, $20,000, $30,000 to the sales price.
Correct. And then again, remember the big differentiator for me in the selling market is I'm the only real estate organization out there that can give you a choice. You can list your home the traditional way, start at the top and work your way down, or you can list it the non-distressed luxury auction approach, start low and build it up. So that choice alone, incidentally, let me quote a statistic. Using this auction method, we achieve success for the seller 91.6% of the time. We'll have a successful closure rate. Traditional real estate, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think the percentage is selling traditionally in this country?
Well, everybody besides...
With the first realtor.
I don't know. I'm going to say 60, 70%.
Well, most people, you're good. Most people will say 70 or 80%, but in reality, it's between 40 and 50%.
Wow. Okay. But David, how do you get someone to see the process differently, right? Because we're ingrained in one way of thinking. This is how we've always done it. This is how we're going to do it. How do you get people to say, look, an auction is an option, a viable one?
Well, because we let you have your cake and eat it too. So there are 3 phases to this process. And phase number 1 is we do a lot of marketing. And in the first 3 weeks, let's say, of the auction process, and it is a process, you have the opportunity to sell your home in that period. Because if a buyer brings you an offer and it's good enough, guess what? You'll take it and that auction gets canceled. So it is, in a way, a traditional sale, except that you've achieved this win, if you will, in a much shorter period of time.
Right.
Now, if that doesn't happen, auction day comes along, which is usually a month from now. When auction day comes along, incidentally, in this first phase, 40% of the time we'll achieve success. The house will sell. If that doesn't happen, though, another 40%, 42% of the time, the house will sell on the day of the auction, or under the hammer, as our auctioneer likes to call it.
Right.
So you're up to 82%. Sometimes it doesn't sell on auction day. There may be a cleanup period usually afterwards, usually 8 days to 2 weeks, where you'll need to maybe clean up some financial contingencies. Maybe one of the parties didn't get the opportunity to see the house when they wanted to, or at nighttime or at daytime, or whatever the case might be. Right. So these things get ironed out in that short period. So that's like another 10% of the time that happens. So that's why we can say we successfully close on business 92% of the time. In a shorter period, our average selling time in today's market, as of last week, was 39 days.
That's fantastic. That truly is fantastic. Now, as far as the dates go, we will add your information again to our show notes. We'll add your website, and I'm sure you constantly update your website as to the dates when these auctions will occur. So we'll have that information for you. So David, if you could do it all over again and you could change one thing about your life, what would that one thing be?
What would you say if I said nothing?
I would say congratulations, because if you had asked me the same question, I would have said I would have done it exactly the same way.
Because, has it been difficult? Absolutely. But it's the journey.
Yes.
It's the journey.
It's made you who you are.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm very satisfied at my point in life. And again, what's happiness? It's all about what's inside.
Perfect. So how can the audience get in touch with you?
I'm at DaCostaProperties.com.
Yes.
And if they want more information on the auctions, they can see it there. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. Join my Facebook page. You'll see some videos. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram. I guess I'm trying to market myself and brand myself. DaCostaProperties.com.
You got it, David. And is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we have to wrap up our interview?
No, I think you've done a good job. You're spot on, as they say.
Exactly.
So, Kelly, it's always a pleasure. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my feelings and the sentiments of my love for this business today. And thank you so much. I know we've met each other probably 10, 12 years ago, if not longer now.
Yes.
When you first came into Carlsbad and we met through the Chamber of Commerce there.
Yes. Yes, David. And we have kept our friendship going. And here's to the next, 25, 30 years. Yes?
Good enough for me.
Fantastic.
God bless, Kelly, and thank you.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure having you on the show, David. And audience, please feel free to leave us your feedback and comments on our contact page. We'll be happy to address any questions and any information you'd like for any upcoming shows. You can get David's information from our show notes. So make sure you do download the app. It's Go Legal Yourself. You can download it from your app store. And remember, the only way you become successful is if you make today the day you go legal yourself. I am attorney Kelly Bagler, the Queen of Business Law, and it was my pleasure being your host today. Until next time, cheers to your success.